Okay, straight up, I'm going to be real with you all right now. I'm absolutely hanging like a baboon's bollocks today, so it's probably best we just skip the whole formality of a half-arsed introduction, jump straight into a piss-poor recap of the week's tech news, followed by endless comments about how bald and useless I am. And then I might just go and curl myself up into a wee ball in the shower and rock back and forth and try my consummate best not to puke up all over myself. Oh dear, that wasn't good. Techspert Weekly. Okay, I think that's settled back down where it should be now, so we're good to press ahead. So this week's big launch came courtesy of Xiaomi, who kept us tech twats very busy indeed by launching enough shiny fresh gadgetry to fill a moderately sized fridge. The big deal of the bunch was this premium handset here, the Xiaomi 11T Pro, which sports some very good specs to rival any flagship out there. The 11T Pro is a 6.67-inch Mama packing a gorgeous 120Hz AMOLED display with Dolby Vision support, plus a proper good stereo speaker setup. The Snapdragon 888 performance is top-notch, helped considerably by the vapor chamber coolant, which helps to prevent singed fingertips when you're getting your Genshin on. And battery life is also excellent, with 120-watt fast charge to fill you back up in almost bang-on 20 minutes. And Xiaomi is even offering 3 years of OS Android updates and also 4 years of security updates with the Xiaomi 11T Pro as well, so that's proper spooge-tastic, and all of that for a price of just 599 quid or 649 euros. And my unboxing video and my full final review of the Xiaomi 11T Pro are both live right now as well, so if you could watch the whole of this video and then go give them a click and watch the whole of those as well, I would like you very much. I might even give you some money if I actually had any. And Xiaomi also spaffed out a couple of other blowers that aren't quite as good as the Pro, but they also cost less money, including the standard Xiaomi 11T and the rather awkwardly titled Xiaomi 11 Lite 5G NE. This refreshed Lite model isn't too different from the original 11 Lite 5G, but it does boast upgraded performance courtesy of a Snapdragon 778G chipset, as also found in the brilliant Samsung Galaxy A52s 5G. It's another impressive all-rounder for a mid-range price, and again my unboxing is live right now. But of course naturally that wasn't all. Xiaomi also launched a few other bits, including a tablet, the Xiaomi Pad 5, which I've already done a full unboxing and hands-on with, so check back tomorrow for that. And there was also time for a new smart projector and a mesh Wi-Fi system, and I think that was about it. So overall quite relieved, because obviously in Xiaomi's last launch they basically unveiled a robotic dog that is inevitably going to rise up against us and enslave/murder all of humanity, as I don't think there was anything that could possibly end us all in this one unless the mesh system somehow finds a way to cook our brains. And of course also this week, Tim Cook proved what a hilarious chap he is by punking us all good and proper at the latest Apple launch event. After the usual boring iPad shenanigans, the main event was supposed to be the grand unveiling of that all-new iPhone 13. But when the time came, instead of revealing a fresh new handset, that cheeky cookster actually just relaunched the iPhone 12 from last year, to much laughter and applause. Okay, so that's just me being facetious. The iPhone 13 isn't exactly the same as the 12. You've got an upgraded A15 chipset, a slightly brighter screen, albeit with another ridiculous mustache notch, and a bigger camera sensor for improved low-light performance, while the base storage is actually increased at last to 128 gigs. They used to sell these premium smartphones with just 64 gigs of storage and no expandability. I mean, that's just wild. Upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro model and you'll have yourself a ProMotion screen with dynamic refresh topping off at 120Hz, a telephoto camera lens with 6x optical zoom, potentially slightly better battery life, and also a second mortgage. Alternatively, there's the cheaper iPhone 13 mini, which is an incremental upgrade of what turned out to be my favourite Apple blower of 2020. And there's also a new iPad mini of all things, and a slightly updated Apple Watch that can inform cyclists when they fall off their bikes or something. I've got to admit, I was kind of on the sauce during it all, so I was only half paying attention, and then my KFC Deliveroo turned up during the watch bit, so I kind of missed most of that. Oh, I really don't feel great today. Sorry, just choking back the bile a bit. Don't mind me. And speaking of Apple, we finally had a verdict of sorts in the ongoing saga that is Apple versus Epic. And the good news for developers is they no longer have to offer subscriptions and in-app purchases exclusively through the App Store, so they can actually bypass the ridiculous 30% cut that Cook & Co get. But of course, as with everything in life, absolutely nobody is happy with the outcome. Epic is already appealing because the verdict didn't go their way, at all. Apple may well do the same as well, despite the fact they tried to spin it as if they were the heroes of the whole saga, despite the fact it actually just shows that they are quite bastardy instead of totally bastardy. Is bastardy a word? It most certainly is now. And this whole ridiculous charade will basically go on and on until the four horsemen finally cleanse the earth and put us all out of our misery. Is that a bit too bleak for a Friday afternoon? I'm not really sure. I mean, right now I just feel like John Hurt out of Alien, just trying to stop my insides from bursting out of me. So anyway, that's my comprehensive coverage of this week's tech news. I hope you enjoyed. And now it's time for the part of the show that something, then I go do a sick in the shower. It's viewer comments. Kill me now. Viewer comments. I mean, if anything's going to cheer me up, it's definitely you guys' lovely comments, that's for sure. So let's start with Stephen. Stephen says, I'm suffering from COVID, so I can say that your Techspert Weekly is better than COVID. It's close, but it's a win for you. Excellent. Cheers, Stephen. I am very much glad that I am better than a global pandemic. That's definitely a quote for the old YouTube banner, that one. But yeah, no, definitely hope you're feeling all better this week. I haven't had the COVIDs as far as I'm aware, but I did once huff a bag of badger feces in an ill-fated attempt to get very high indeed, so I can kind of empathise. Next up, Phil says, for fuck's sake, stick joke right off the bat, and now I've got the Hey Dougie stick song stuck in my head. Oh god, that bloody song. Yeah, thanks, because now I'm going to have that stuck in my head for days. Cheers, Phil. And of course, anyone without kids is just going to be like, what the hell is the stick song? Well, go look it up on YouTube, again, after you've watched the whole of this video and all those other videos I mentioned, and yeah, revel in the delight. It's kind of like the equivalent of that song from back in the day, the badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. That was a bit too much enthusiasm. Definitely no more singing. Next up, James says, could you make a budget lineup for £300? Well, James, you must have been a very good boy indeed, because Uncle Spurt has done exactly that, a best budget phones for under £300 roundup, which went live on Monday. So enjoy that. So it wasn't a fantastic coincidence or anything. This next one is a question I get asked quite a bit. The safety man says, what phone do you use daily when you're not testing phones? Well, the quick and easy answer to that is I'm never not testing phones, basically. I have a literal pile of them right there just waiting for me to whip them out of the box and give them a full-on review. So yeah, whichever phone I'm using at any given moment, which has my SIM card inside my personal phone, is definitely whatever I'm testing out for the channel. And yeah, I've got to admit, it would be nice to kind of settle down, just have the one phone instead of lots of phones on the go at one time. But yeah, that just ain't me. Next up, Artificial Intelligence says, why not review some strange devices or something? Chinese have a lot, like skin peeling devices, egg crackers. Hang on, skin peeling devices? I mean, you mean like fruit skin and vegetable skin, right? Not human skin, because that's just a straight up murder bot, and that's something I would expect from a Xiaomi launch. I mean, yeah, as long as as much as I'd love to cover some of the more batshit mental tech out there, just the standard consumer stuff is, it's piling up quite considerably. So many phones and laptops. But I'm always open to suggestions. So if any of you guys spot any more outlandish tech that you think might be worth a squint for Techspert, definitely hit me up in the comments. Just no murder bots or anything to do with knobs. I don't care if it could potentially be an internet sensation. I am not sticking mini spurt in any kind of robotic contraption, especially after all this talk about peeling. Next up, Mark B says, hey mate, did you get a chance to see the iPhone 14 leak from Front Page Tech? I mean, I absolutely love this. The iPhone 13 literally hadn't even been officially unveiled yet, and already the iPhone 14 leaks are starting. I know I don't tend to really pay much attention to the Apple leaks because 99% of it turns out to be utter horse shit. I mean, just look at the Apple Watch stuff. That looked like it was going to be some revolutionary, completely overhauled new device. What we actually got was a slightly brighter, sharper screen. Next up, Z Ultra says, honestly, I'm pretty excited for the Mi 11T. The Redmi Note 10 I'm currently using impressed me enough for me to consider a higher-end Xiaomi phone as my next blower. Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Xiaomi, the software side of things can be quite scrappy. It's obviously very divisive indeed, but the hardware side of things, usually solid specs and technology for what you pay for it, definitely. So as I say, my full 11T Pro review has gone live already, so go check that out, and I'm busy working on my 11 Lite 5G NE review as well, but full unboxing that live right now. Name, but pretty good fun. Righty hoes, next up Angelo says, my god, you talk so much and never go into the point. Your explanation is so poorly explained. I need to know what happened with the Xiaomi 11 Pro. You don't explain absolutely nothing. What a disaster you are. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm getting a distinct impression that Angelo doesn't really like me too much. Or indeed full stops. One sentence that was. Yeah, I mean, it's 100% accurate that my explanations are very poorly explained, but to be fair, I did open last week's show by saying, and welcome to another kidney-kicking episode of TechSpert Weekly, possibly the least informative tech news show on YouTube. So if you then continued watching expecting some kind of incisive and insightful tech commentary, then that's all on you, buddy. But thanks for your feedback, though, much appreciated. I'll try and do better, just for you, Angelo. Next up, Ranga says, wait, you're from Australia? The one with the kangaroos? How come you don't have the accent? And no, sorry, I'm very much not from Australia with the kangaroos, or indeed any other kind of Australia. The closest I've been to Oz is many a drunken rowdy night in the walkabout bars here in the UK, getting absolutely shitted on a fiver for some undisclosed random methylated spirits, all while singing along to a hearty bit of Men at Work on repeat, of course. And I take it all the walkabouts are gone now. I certainly haven't seen one for a long while, unless there's a couple still lurking about there. But yeah, it's a real shame. It used to be a really classy place to spend your Friday evenings. Irresponsibly cheap alcohol coupled with the world's stickiest carpets. The Wetherspoons does a pretty good job of filling that gap, to be fair. So next up, talking about the 160 watt fast charge of that Infinix concept phone, which I covered not so long ago. Sean says, just 13 minutes to a full charge. That is a real shave in a shower while charging your phone. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be the future, right? Don't worry about plugging it in all night long. Just literally stick it in when you jump out of your Jimmy Jams in the morning. And to be fair, you probably wouldn't even have time to have a shave and a shower. You'd have to probably shave while you're on the bogs just to save a bit of a time. Next up, FH Manor says, you don't talk about your wife at all. Yep, that is very true indeed, and that's her prerogative basically. She doesn't mind me playing YouTube instead of, you know, getting a real job like normal people, but she very much doesn't like being on video or anything like that. So for the purposes of TechSpert, my stand-in wife is of course the lovely Veronica. She is admittedly a bit on the quiet side, but she is a fantastic listener, and I've got to tell you, she is a bit of a naughty temptress too. Fancy another wee dram of whiskey, my love? Go on, just one won't hurt. Oh, go on then, Veronica. You are evil. Next up, Lauren says, this guy puts up so much content, he must have a twin. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty frickin' sweet. Gotta say, one of my fantasies when I was a kid, after seeing the movie Twins, was always that Arnold Schwarzenegger would just randomly rock up on my doorstep, announce that we were related, and then we just go off having amazing adventures together. But you know, in a pinch I would also take Danny DeVito because he is one funny motherfucker. And next up, oh, brace yourselves because this looks like a proper tech question. Mr. Zimmerframe says, which is the best Android phone I can buy at the moment that doesn't use PWM, pulse width modulation? My eyes pick up on the flickering and it gives me eye strain and or headaches. From what I've read, it affects about 30% of phone users in some way. Yeah, personally, I never really tend to notice the flicker unless it's really bad on a smartphone. But I do know that DxOMark, so they certainly used to review smartphone displays, and part of that would be mentioning if there was any bad flicker, you know, when it dimmed right down. So go check out their website. Hopefully they still do that, because yeah, they used to review individual components, the cameras, the displays, etc. So yeah, it's always worth a look. Next up, Pritesh says, disagree with everything except cordon. Cheers, mate. Yeah, absolutely fair. Teji says, can you do a video on the best value tablets, please? I mean, that would probably be a very short video, to be honest. Outside of the Amazon Fire tablets, you've basically got what, the Samsung Galaxy Tab A. You might be able to find a couple of cheap Lenovo's, and that's probably about it, to be honest. But then, of course, we do have the Xiaomi Pad 5, which I have covered, which, again, that video will be going live tomorrow, so go check that out if you want an Android alternative. Channel GMC says, seen in the news this week that James Corden has been granted a restraining order against a stalker. Wouldn't be you by any chance, Chris? I mean, dear God, no. I mean, just seeing the guy on my TV brings me out in hives. So if I actually encountered him in real life, I'd probably just explode in a shower of blood and puke. And really need to bugger off now. Yeah, the shower awaits. But just one more rather appropriate comment before we say goodbye. Leaky Pipes says, how much alcohol do you consume? Sounds like a lot. I wouldn't say I consume a lot. I would say I consume enough. But yeah, I may well take a couple of days off the old sauce. Just yeah, not good times. Don't drink irresponsibly, kiddies. It's not a good idea. Right, so high energy finish. Thank you to everyone who commented last week, and please do bung your comments down below. I'm sorry that we didn't manage to get through even a fraction of them. Frankly, there was so many lovely comments in there, and then Angelo's as well, of course. I'm just f***ing with you, Angelo. I love you too, buddy. So next week, what the f*** is next week? Well, I've got a couple of the briefings, so there'll be some fresh tech emerging next week. I'm also planning on bringing you my full final review on the Google Nest doorbell and a couple other bits that I've had on the back burner for a while. And please do join me, of course, next Friday at noon, as always, for Techspert Weekly, where hopefully I'll have a bit more pep, bit more vigor, a bit more spunk, just not hanging like a giraffe's nads, basically. And have yourselves a fan-bloody-tastic weekend, everyone.